Okay, so we talked about ratio and we've talked about proportion. Now we need to talk about percent. So objective 4 in chapter 4 is to write fractions and decimal numbers as percentages or percents. So 4a asks us to write 1/4 as a percent. So when you're changing a fraction to a percent, first you need to change the fraction to a decimal form. So for 4a, 1/4 is a common fraction. And if you remember correctly, 1/4 is equal to 0.25 or 25 hundredths. Don't forget that leading zero. Sometimes it's hard to see that decimal point there, so don't forget the leading zero. Okay, so once you've changed your fraction to a decimal form, then you continue as if you were just working with the decimal form. However, if you were unsure for whatever reason and didn't have a calculator to divide 1 by 4 and wanted to show work or additional work, maybe even extra credit work, on how you came up with the fact that 1/4 is equal to 25 hundredths, you could actually show your work just like we did when we were working with fractions in chapter 2. So if I wanted to do that, I would say 1 divided by 4. Now 4 is larger than 1, so we need to add a decimal spot and a 0, a placeholder. So now, leading 0, don't forget to add that leading 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. We have a remainder of 2. Let's add another 0. Bring it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We have a remainder of 0. So now we can see that 1/4 or 1 divided by 4 is 0.25 or 25 hundredths. But like I said, 1/4 is one of those common fractions that you should just know off the top of your head. So anyways, whenever we have a decimal number, in order to change it into a percent, you can either multiply the decimal number by 100%, and so in this case, 0.25 times 100% is 25%. Or you could take that fraction, convert it to the decimal number like we just did. Another method is to shift the decimal point 2 places to the right. So we count 1, 2. We get 25, and then we add the percent sign. So 2 methods. Multiply times 100% to get your percentage, or you move the decimal place over to the right twice, add the percent sign, and there you have your percent. So number 1 would be 25%. Don't forget to box that answer. Or sorry, 4a rather. So 4b asks you to write 46 hundredths or 0.46, and remember we need that leading 0. Write it as a percent. So we can either multiply it times 100% and get 46%, or we could move the decimal point over 2 spaces, shift it over 2 spaces to the right, we get 46, and then add the percent sign, we get 46%. Either way is fine. And then you're going to write that up there, box that answer, there you go. For C asks us to write the number 5 as a percent. Now if there's no decimal on the number 5, you could rewrite it. You could say 5.00, and then you could shift it over and you come up with 500%, right? Or you could have said just 5 times 100% is equal to 500%. And that is your answer for C. For D, asks us to write 0.075 or 75 thousandths as a percentage. Notice there's a 0 right there. So we take the number 75 thousandths, and we can either multiply that times 100% and get 7.5%, or my preferred method of taking the number 75 thousandths and just moving that decimal. And this is how you're showing work. This is how I'm showing work for this type of problem. You might be able to do that in your head, but if you get it wrong, I don't know what you did in your head, so you do need to show work. And in this instance, I can show it like this, or my preferred method, just show I'm moving the decimal place over, or shifting the decimal point over 2 places to the right, and I get 7.5, and then I add the percent sign. So the answer for 4D is 7.5%.